All right. Now, thanks for joining us on this segment of the program from Abuja. Now, Chairman, Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions, Neda Emaswe, says the sexual harassment case instituted by Senator Natasha Akpabio-Natasha against Senator Akpabio, President of the Senate, is closed at the upper chamber, as the same case is already before a court of law. Senator Emaswe spoke while responding to a comment by Senator Akpabio-Natasha's lawyer accusing him of bias. During the meeting, Abiola Akinode, counsel to Senator Natasha Akpabio, asked Senator Emaswe to step down as chairman of the Senate panel. Some disturbing developments that trailed the Senate committee hearing has thrown up many questions on the integrity of the panel and conduct of some persons of interest.
Another disturbing moment at the Senate committee meeting was the uncomplimentary exchange of words between two supposedly very important personalities, Senator Onyekachin Nwebonyi and the former Minister of Education, Obi Ezekwesili, following arguments on the priority or otherwise of taking oath before the panel. Mrs. Ezekwesili and her colleagues insisted on not taking the oath. The petitioner, Azamaraya, has also refused to testify, accusing the committee of bias and demanding that Senator Akpabio-Natasha, who is the principal witness, be allowed into the National Assembly to appear before the panel with her documented evidence. The social media has since been abuzz following the altercation. Critics have blamed the duo for displaying uncouth behavior in their verbal exchange. And for more on this development, let's speak with Monday Ubani, the senior advocate of Nigeria and counsel to the president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio. Also note that one of the counsels representing Senator Natasha Akpabio-Natasha, Abiola Akinode Afolabi, rescheduled her appearance on this show for tomorrow, Friday. It's good to have you on the program this morning, Senior Advocate.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you for
coming. My pleasure
coming.
to be here.
Well, the investigative hearing on the petition filed by the Kogi Central Senator went south, with tempers rising. What significant fact was uncovered that made the Senate close its case?
I may not say it that the Senate has finally closed up the case.
Okay.
It's only when there is a formal report by the committee on the floor of the House to the plenary can now assume that this is what they have taken as a decision. For now, that report has not been presented, so it may be premature to assume that the committee has actually closed up that particular investigation. That is what I want to say now. That we await the formal report, even to the plenary. It is at that point you can now have a fair view of whatever they have decided. So
you're saying that the investigative hearing was just what was put on hold?
Yeah, of course, the petitioner who wrote on behalf of the distinguished Senator Natasha at that day refused to adopt his petition, insisting that the chairman should step aside, that he was biased and all that.
Right.
And then the explanation is that this is a standing committee. If you have presented this petition before that committee, before the Senate, and they refer to that committee that handles all matters of ethics misconduct, they cannot constitute an ad hoc committee over that.
All right, I would like you to explain further, but that will be after this short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Live from our Abuja studio. We still have with us in the studio Monday Ubani, who is the counsel to the president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio. Well, you were saying something.
Yes, I was explaining that, look, this is the petition that has been presented formally in compliance with the established rules of the Senate. You remember that the first petition she presented fell short of compliance because she was the signatory and also she was the one who presented it, and they said, no, that is not the rule. The rule is that if you present a petition, somebody else should have signed it. So she now did the writing by having a constituent who did sign, and then she presented, and it was now referred to a committee. Okay. So it's at that committee hearing that the man himself is now alleging bias, and that stalled the proceeding that day. But if he has gone ahead to adopt his, then call his witnesses, then opportunity will be given to the defendant, or the respondent to either rebut or agree with whatever they have as the allegation and all that. So that has been the issue. But I don't think, as I said earlier, that the Senate itself has actually, closed the matter until the formal report is presented. Yes.
Okay, SCN, I'd like you to clarify some things. You said the Senate, because they refused to take the oath, so they could not proceed with that stuff. The procedure.
Yeah, eventually the petitioner took the oath. Eventually took, but he now refused to adopt his petition. So,
okay, and there was this also gray area that they raised, that the panel refused to admit Senator Natasha to give her testimony.
No, Senator Natasha has a right to come, into the Senate to come and give evidence. There's no question of any attempt being made on Senator Natasha's refused access. But what I suggested to them that day in that panel, look, since Senator Natasha is not present that day, the man can adopt his petition, speak to it, if he has anything to expatiate, then call any of the witnesses, like OBS Equesley says she's a witness. You could have also call her that day to be a witness. Then the Senate can adjourn, a committee can adjourn in order to, ensure that Senator Natasha comes forward to give her own evidence. Okay. So there's no way Senator Natasha cannot be allowed into to give evidence concerning the allegations.
Good that you have clarified this aspect. And the other aspect is that the panel chairman did say because the case is in courts, they cannot proceed. The question is, at what point did they realize that the case is in court? Because the case was in court even before the sitting. So if you knew the case was in court, why did you invite these people to come to testify?
As I said earlier, there's no formal report. That is part of the proceeding. When this man was given an opportunity to adopt his petition, he refused to do that, and then the question is, what is the defendant's position concerning this matter? Is there any pending suit? Yes, that information was brought to the knowledge of the Senate committee, that already concerning the sexual harassment issue, 2 cases have been filed. Now, the certified true copies of those suits were tendered, last Tuesday before that. So they pointed it out and all that. But you see, looking at the body language of the Senate committee, they were still ready to go into the matter on its merit. If despite this issue of the matter being sub judice, because if it was not their intention, they wouldn't have said adopt your. Exactly. So adopt your petition and then bring your witnesses. So they all consider all that. In law, when you go to court and then the other party raises the issue of locus standi, that you don't have locus to bring this action, what the court usually do is that they look at the issue of whether there is locus standi, or whether the court has jurisdiction. And even after deciding it, we still go into the merits of the case. Well, if I'm wrong, the Court of Appeal can now correct my position on the issue of locus or issue of jurisdiction, but I also want to delve into the merits of the case and decide on it. So that may be the procedure that the committee would like to adopt. That despite the fact that this matter is sub judice, we want to look into the merits of the petition, is whether it there is any merit or it's just frivolous allegation, and then probably ask the defendant or the respondent to rebut or agree and all that, then probably give a ruling whether the petition itself has merit. So, as I said earlier, until a formal report is presented by the committee, we cannot make any conclusion that they have said, the matter is sub judice, we are not going to it. That would be a very premature conclusion.
Well, since you say the matter is still before the Senate and the case still remains open, the petitioners and their counsel express fears of bias against the committee and its leadership in person of Senator Neda Emaswen. Is this not enough reason for the chairman to step aside or recuse himself? Because as it stands, it appears that Senator Natasha Akpabio-Natasha still didn't get a fair hearing.
See, that is actually what they came to create as an impression that they are not going to be given a fair hearing.
Okay.
Somebody has invited you to come and speak. You now raise the issue of bias. You must particularize your bias. I mean, whatever you think is biased. The statement they made is that the man said that this particular petition is dead on arrival. Okay. But that is with regards to the first petition that was presented by Senator Natasha that did not meet the threshold of the standing rules of the Senate.
But do you think his choice of words might have misled?
No, but what I'm saying, it was with regard to the first petition. Okay. It has nothing to do with the second petition that was now properly presented, right, on the floor, and it was accepted and then referred to a committee, right? So if you now particularize that he made a statement with regards to the second petition, you have to provide, particulars, what he said with the second petition. He said that one, look, he didn't meet the threshold, and that's why the word, that he was dead on arrival. He now went and did the right thing by now getting the petition properly written and then submitted, and they accepted it, and they referred it to the committee. And I want to say that it's a standing committee. It is only that committee that handles issue of misconduct or issue of breach of privilege or issue of public petition. All the petitioners, whether outside or within, if you have any, it's a standing committee of the Senate, and it's comprising with men and women of integrity. There are so many of them there. The chairman is only one out of all. There's even a senior advocate of Nigeria that is a member of that panel and all that. So I am not, seeing it as a wise decision for you to bring a petition before the committee or before the Senate. And you are now alleging that, in fact, they were even at the time saying that all the senators, are biased. So, but why did you bring it? You have brought it before an institution. The institution must deal with it. Then you can now complain if there is any such, bad or error that has been made by that committee. But until that, you cannot in any way conclude that all of them are biased.
SAN, for the integrity of this committee and the integrity of the Senate, if they have alleged bias for the chairman, would you advise that the chairman should step down and another person takes charge? Because whatever they do,
the chairman can step aside. But what I'm saying, they must particularize the evidence of bias. This is they only mentioned that the man said he's dead on arrival, and he referred them to the first petition and not to the second petition. But I don't think there's any problem if the chairman himself sees that these people do not have confidence on him presiding, to step aside and allow, as I said earlier, there are so many distinguished senators that are members of that committee that can also preside, even in the absence of the chairperson. It is his choice to look at whatever they are coming up with in order to say, in the interest of justice, in the interest of fair hearing, in the interest of everyone concerning this particular hearing, I step aside and allow some other person to preside. That can be done. But he must be convinced that, look, there is evidence of bias established against me as a chairperson. Are you following me? Maybe if I'm the one presiding, I may say, or you want to, you're the one presiding, you may all step aside, or my sister presiding. But I also pray that he understands that he can, and allow some other person in order to give them that opportunity of having confidence on the panel. That's what I think.
Of course. Well, as the lawyer representing the president of the Senate, do you perceive that these allegations are politically motivated? And what is the end game for bringing up these allegations? That's for those doing it.
You're taking me into the merits of the petition. The point is this. We're all human beings. When that allegation was raised, she asked us to wait that the following day she's going on national television and all that. Nigerians kept awake, because I was thinking after the suspension, before, I think that was even done before the suspension and all that. There was a issue of seat reallocation, right? She came and she refused to take her seat, and she was raising order 10, and they told her that, look, you can only raise that order when you are sitting at the right seat. So go to the right seat, and then you can now approach, the Senate president on terms of this is what you want to say on allegation of breach of privilege. She did not want to listen to that. So the next day she went to Brekete Radio and made a lot of allegations against the Senate and the leadership. And then the following day, somebody brought now a formal petition against her for her misconduct and disorderly manner she carried herself, during the proceeding of 25th of February. And a committee was set up. She was invited. She did not even honor that invitation. Then they came to the house, read the punishment, they have prescribed, and then it was adopted by the entire house. If you watch the proceeding. So the lady now went to television and alleged sexual harassment, right? And then she was now saying that, look at the instances of the sexual harassment. That in one instance, 8th of December, her own birthday is on night, the same day with distinguished Senator Akpabio. But she and her husband chose to celebrate with a distinguished senator in Uyo, and they all went. And according to her, at a time, the president now took her by the hand, and the husband was following behind. And then he showed them all the rooms there, and then asked, "Do you like my house? I would like two of us to come back here to make me happy." That is an allegation, right? Then the second one was when she was not wearing her ring, and the president now, allegedly said, "Oh, is there an invitation to treat?" And according to her, these were before senators. And then the third one is the issue of her waist. That the man said one time that your waist can make a very good movement, on the bed and all that, So these are all allegations. So one would have expected that these allegations will particularize it and give further exhibit, provide for the or even witnesses that were there. There is none. If you look at our verifying affidavit, I've sent it to you. Look at it. There is no single particular, evidence that is attached to all those statements she made. Just her word against the second person. So it is issue of proof. Whoever alleges must prove. You don't just make spurious allegation against somebody without having a proof. Because I told you that you are not wearing ring. Is an invitation to treat. To you, that amounts to sexual harassment. No problem. That you come back here and make me happy and cook for me and all that. That is no problem. To you, is sexual harassment. But you must provide particulars to that.
So
who was there?
That the affidavit tendered by Senator Akpabio does not stand.
That's evidence. Because affidavit evidence is evidence. There is no exhibit, there is nothing whatsoever attached to it. I've sent it to you people. But then that is on the merit. And then you look at this particular matter. You allege that this incident took place in 2023. You resurrect it in 2025 when your seat was relocated. You never told your husband about this issue of sexual harassment. On your ex, on the 9th of December, you eulogized this same Senator Akpabio. You had a wonderful time in Uyo, and the next year you promised it's going to be in Kogi, where you come from. There was any evidence of somebody that has been sexually harassed in that particular.
Well, some people might argue with you that there is no perfect time for someone who feels harassed to come out to say this is what has happened to me.
Good and fine. You must provide particulars. Even if you want to wait till 10 years in order to raise the issue of sexual harassment, you never discuss with your husband, that is closest person to you, not even any of those women that are your friends, not even any of your girlfriend have you ever told this. You didn't go to police all these years. You didn't go to the judiciary all these years. You are bringing it up now because of the fact that the seat has been reallocated. I'm saying no problem. I am not undermining her statement. I'm not making little of her statement. I'm not. But I'm saying you must now provide evidence, because it will look frivolous for you to have gone all over the world, the Europe to America, in order to defame a man, in order to bring down a man, and then you have verifying evidence. There is no single witness. There is no single exhibit. After all that, and you have gone all over the place to run down a man, to run down an institution in which you were elected, and then you don't have any single evidence. That is why I'm having problem with her statement. I'm not saying you don't have any right to raise it at any point in time if you want to keep it, only when probably you're offended. And this is a man you have gone all over with, to other countries, as a senator. You have accompanied him to all other international engagement and national. He never at that point chased you. It was only in his house where his family stayed, is where he's asking you to come back to make him happy. I'm saying there is no problem. But now that opportunity, that golden opportunity has been presented to you. With this petition, you have presented appropriately before the Senate, and they have referred it to the committee. Why don't you come forward now and adopt? You don't come and create content with your petition. You don't come and show on level of seriousness with a petition that the whole world is looking forward to see what will be the outcome. Are you following me, sir? You now came and begin to raise all those issues now that will stall the process. I think you should be able to have confidence in that particular Senate you have brought the petition. If you don't have that confidence, why do you have to bring it before them? There are other institutions you can go to if you have that confidence on them, judiciary or the police. But if you have brought it before them, the committee must be allowed to do its duty and all that. Don't stall them, because you are giving an impression that you are not giving fair hearing. Because what I discovered that day, that they came with so much anger, so much, this and another, without giving up, from beginning, if you watch the proceeding, they started by raising objection from beginning, even when they have not taken oath. You take your oath and then begin to raise whatever. They refused. So they came with a mindset, let's cause confusion, give the entire world the impression that no fair hearing has been given to, and that is not fair to the Senate, and that is not fair to the committee.
That is your own opinion. That they came with
and I'm entitled to it.
Exactly. But would you have, is it possible that the Senate or Senator Akpabio didn't handle this thing very well when it started? I mean, from the seat allocation and all that, because from insinuation, it is like, oh, the reason I'm being harassed is because I didn't yield to certain advances, and that is why I've been harassed. Do you think the Senate...
Now how would they have handled it? According to the information at our disposal, there are two members that came from different political parties and joined the ruling party, and whenever there are new entrants into the ruling party, you rearrange seats. It wasn't only her that was affected. There were other senators, 4 of them. And when they came that morning, discovered that their seats have been changed. They all went to their seats, the new seats that have been allocated, except our own sister who refused to, So I don't know how you wanted it to be. So now, when she refused to, she was creating a scene. Then the Senate president walked in, and then the chief whip of the House observed what was going on and read the rule that gave the Senate the authority to rearrange it. And then the Senate president agreed with that particular standing rule. This is what the rule says. Mrs. Senator Natasha, could you go to your seat? She refused. You could see that the Senate president has ruled that she should proceed to wherever she has been allocated. So I don't understand how it should have been handled. Is it that the seat shouldn't have been changed? And even if
she's the only female among these people, and they felt that the Senate is not being fair to her because she's a woman.
No. You see, making it a gender issue is another issue, because there are 3 other members of that particular house who have come up to speak. Senator Ireti is a member and said her own seat has been changed 4 times. She could also allege that because she's a woman. No. Some other members' seats have been changed. Men. Even issue of committee is not a permanent thing. You can be in one committee today, tomorrow they put you in another committee and all that. She came in as a first-timer and she was given a local content committee. When she was removed from that local content, she was also made a chairman of Diaspora Committee, another committee, substantive committee chairperson. And this is her first time in the Senate. There are many senators that are not heading any committee. She was given that preference. Do you know that she was elected and nominated as the best senator of the year by Arise This Day newspaper this year? If she's alleging sexual advances that were rebuffed, that made her not to perform, how come she was made the best? And there are synopses of all her performance. She has contributed to several bills. She has contributed to several motions. And she has been given an opportunity to travel abroad. She even said it. Local and international. So what is the problem? So I'm saying everything she says, she has a right to say them. Everything she's alleging, it is her right to say it. But I'm saying you must also have evidence to prove whatever because whoever alleges must prove. If you are saying that I am not given an opportunity because of sexual advancement that are rebuffed, there is something to the contrary, that you have been elected and nominated as the best senator. How could you have performed excellently well if you are not given that opportunity? We now say that you were sexually harassed and you did not give any particular of any witness that will come to corroborate this evidence and all that. And you want the Senate president to do what? How could he have handled it? I'm asking you, sir, that you came into the house and they asked you, go and sit, this is your seat, and you refused to sit. And then you were there creating this orderly conduct. And they say there are rules and regulations.
Let's come back to the matter on the table, which is the petition. Determining the credibility of the witnesses can be challenging, especially if there are conflicting testimonies or if the witnesses have personal or political motivations. In this case, the witness, who is also the petitioner, refused to testify. How does this impact the investigation?
Who is the petitioner that refused to testify?
Azamariah.
Who is Azamariah?
The petitioner, the person that brought the second petition before the committee.
Is it Subaru? I think is it
Subaru.
He says they gave him. You are the one who wrote the petition, and they asked you go ahead and adopt, and then expatiate, because the person who must have told you this story must have explained it to you before you take up any petition on behalf of somebody. That person must have explained to you, so you will be the first witness or say something about your petition, then call other witnesses. So he came and said he's not going to. Because according to him, one, that Senator Natasha is not available. But I suggested, since you have Akpabio-Natasha as your witness, you can go ahead with the one that is available. Then the Senate will make arrangement in order to have Senator Natasha, come in and give her evidence, as your witness, either second or third witness and other. But they didn't want to take that opportunity. My own take is this. We want to move forward. The Senate has been distracted so much with regard to this allegation. We shouldn't be talking about sex, in 2025, when there are more serious issues. Nigerians are not happy.
But that's a serious issue.
Let me say it again.
Sexual harassment is a serious issue.
Let me tell you, there are more serious issues in Nigeria today.
That is also a serious issue.
But am I not entitled to my opinion? You brought me here. Just listen to me now. I'm saying that there are so many issues that Nigeria need to address. The issue of level of poverty, the issue of unemployment, the economic hardship is making everyone angry. Now, in 2025, we are dwelling so much on this issue of sex. And
but
the
abuse
on...
If you don't want me to say, I will not be listening. Allow me now. You have a right to interject, but allow me to express.
All right,
don't
have that right. But you also have to be balanced in your facts.
No problem about that, but you must allow me to speak first. I'm saying
speak on.
There is no problem for her to allege all that, But I'm saying there are more serious fundamental issues that we need to address as a nation. We are dwelling so much. Every day we are talking about sex in the Senate and then there is no particular. If these allegations have some level of, real substance, in my own opinion, I will be the first person to ask Senator Akpabio to, recuse himself as the presiding officer. But I look at it. I've presented it. The whole world is seeing all the verifying evidence. So what do you want us to do? We have been giving you an opportunity now to come and expatiate. Do it. No problem. But every day we are talking about Natasha, and she wants to be in the news. And she likes this media blitz. No, but we should not. We should not. You're asking me, why didn't they handle it better? They handle it in such a manner that maybe we should not even pay attention to when you guys invite us to begin to talk about it. Because you guys are creating, it's making you guys happy and it's making advertisers to come.
No,
that's why every day we are talking about sex.
The role of the media is oversight.
I'm sorry about it. That's
the role of the media is to oversight.
Yes, all of you,
exactly
beautiful. Why don't you use a structured environment to ventilate that grievance? That's what my take. Advise them. Don't be using the press. The press cannot personally, give you justice. There are structured institutions, based upon your allegation. The press cannot. One of them is the judiciary. The one is police. The one is the Senate. Choose any of them in order to have confidence to hear you. But if you go to the press all over the world and all defaming, running down a man, the man who was once a commissioner, the man who was once a governor, a man who was once a minister, a man who has been a senator, a man who is now the Senate president, and you want to run the institution and run him down with no verifying and substance to your... Listen, no, I don't believe in that.
We understand
and you guys are making you're making all your money and all that. You're happy and
it's
all
that.
No problem.
Constitutional responsibility to bring
let's pay
every
attention to more serious issue in Nigeria. The economic issues is what Nigeria is battling.
All right,
let's pay attention to it, please.
Senior advocate, we must thank you so much, and we understand your opinions that you've raised, but we'll also say that sexual harassment is a very serious matter, and the rights of women should be considered and protected.
I believe in it.